Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Veterans Minimum. I think, Mike, this might be the last episode we ever record because Alan has shit himself and it smells really bad.
Yeah, my fault.
It's all right. Let him rip, baby. Let him rip. ALLEN. Dude, I always fart when we record.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know if it's maybe because, you're not comfortable in telling me that I smell like shit because we're in my home dome. It's my home building.
Well, I went to all guys high school, so I'm kind of numb to it at this point.
Oh, man. That could be taken very out of context with the numb to it, too. But you know what? Hey, that's a different show, different podcast. Alan, let's get right into it because we have a jam-packed show. Wild card weekend. Just give me your overall thoughts. I got to be honest with you. That scarf is hurting me on the inside only because my wallet is also hurting on the inside as well.
I did not see it coming, but I grew up with Randy Moss jersey, Culpepper to Moss. That was my thing besides obviously liking the Falcons. So I was overjoyed to see the Vikings pull off an upset that I definitely did not see coming. I thought this game was going to be pretty lopsided. I think it's the one game I got totally wrong, but I think that's got to be the big takeaway, minus the Patriots, of course. But the Saints just third straight year, although I think this is the first time they could say they were thoroughly outplayed. I don't think anyone could really dispute that. Minnesota with maybe better play calling in the fourth quarter would have pulled away, but just I don't know. Kevin Stefanski a little skeptical about his play calling, but for the most part, I thought New Orleans got thoroughly outplayed compared to what happened with the Rams last year and then 2 years ago with the Vikings. That crazy game. This one I thought they kind of should have lost. So, but still, it's like 3 years in a row, and now it's New Orleans. Like, is that window starting to close? You're gonna have to look into that because like Bridgewater is gonna get some interest on the open market, and then who knows with Breeze. And it's just at this point, like, what more do Saints do? They won 13 games and they still couldn't get a bye. And what was crazy, I'll never forget, because of course, being someone that covers the Falcons, a lot of people are saying, when the Saints lost to the Falcons, it's just one loss, doesn't mean anything. Well, when you miss out a bye, you have to play Dalvin Cook and Thielen, who had a phenomenal game. It does mean something. So, yeah, Saints, I don't know where they go from here.
Dude, I want to mention one thing because we did say that if they duplicated that Cowboys game,
they
they did.
They control time possession.
And Cook got what? Definitely got. I haven't checked, but I'm gonna check.
He had 28 carries. He only got the only reason he was under 100 yards because they had those two major botch plays. Like there were at least two runs where he lost 6 yards. I think if those plays don't happen, he gets over 100. But he was almost in Derrick Henry range.
Well, we were saying how the recipe for success for them was to definitely get over 28 carries, and he had 31 touches.
Yeah.
Like you get that dude 25 or more touches, you're in good shape. And what about that first half that Adam Thielen had? Awful
Game period. Oh, the fumble, yeah.
Dude, the fumble.
Janoris Jenkins coming back.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was very frustrating. How do you feel when a guy gets traded from your team and then they start to ball out?
Well, if it's a disgruntled veteran, I think you're more pissed off because it's like, now you're motivated. If it's a young player just didn't fit, it's like, okay. But I would say if it's a veteran like Janoris Jenkins, who you knew kind of dogged it, I'd be pretty annoyed.
We were watching the conclusion to the Bills-Texans game together.
Oh God!
And then we watched the Pats go down to the Titans, and then we took a car back and dropped you off afterwards, and we were kind of just shooting this shit in the car. And I do want to address the fact that New England lost. We both were on the Titans. Not a surprise to us because of the picks, but to a lot of people, they were surprised by it. Is the Patriot run done? Are you in that camp that you think it's over for them?
Not until as long as the coaching's still there, I'm gonna believe in the Patriots. But this free agency is going to be very fascinating because they already have so many free agents, given just the structure of that roster. And because you look at it, it doesn't really blow you away. So I want to believe in Belichick, but there is not much there. Like when you watch the game, it's just like, okay, who are their weapons? Who's getting after a quarterback? It's just nothing. It's just there's not a lot of star power there. And given that Buffalo is obviously up and coming, I think there is a concern. But I'm going to put my trust in Belichick for now. But this free agency is going to be very telling to see where the Patriots stand, and not just the AFC, but the AFC East in itself.
Yo, I've watched that Deshaun Watson play, no lie, like 50 times. If Milano doesn't hit him, he probably goes down. Have you noticed that?
I did.
The first hit from the safety, I was watching NFL Turning Point, and they showed it like 12 times. Mike, did you happen to see that play? Dude, the safety comes off the edge and hits him, and like Watson is already stumbling, so like he's going like down, and then he gets hit, and it kind of knocks him upright.
Yeah, I think that safety had a sack on the same drive because they were blitzing a lot, Buffalo. That's what Sean McDermott's known for, coming from the Ron Rivera coach tree. But it's just, yeah, I think they had like 6 sacks on Watson, but it's just Watson. He makes those superhuman plays. Him and Russell Wilson have that knack for doing the impossible, and you have to give kudos to them. Even though I don't know, Houston, that game was just such a roller coaster. I don't know, whoever came out of that, I'm just like, all right, congrats, celebrate, but just like you can to compete with the Chiefs, the Ravens, I just don't see it. But not to buzzkill those fan bases, but I was just watching this game. Like, this is the one game in the wild card round. I'm just like, there's no way these teams are playing the Super Bowl compared to other 3 matchups where there were clearly teams that could compete for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
As limited as the Patriots are, it's like, okay, you still have to keep in the back of your mind, they might just grind this out. And then you look at the Saints, and then you look at Seattle. Like, these teams, I could see Seattle, even though their roster is kind of limited, they could still make a run just because of Russ, the impact he's had. But
I have a what I think is a hell of a talking point between Russ and Watson. I'll wait till we get to the divisional round. Let's talk about some of these new coaching hires, in particular. I mean, look, fuck it. Let's just start with the Giants, right? They get Joe Judge. I had no idea who he was until a week ago.
Me neither.
When his name started to surface as a potential head coaching candidate. With that being said, did you happen to catch Larry David on the Michael Kay show this week?
Oh, of course.
Dude, he said something which I thought was awesome because I've always felt that way. We're like, no one really knows anything.
We don't. It's just we put together our scouting reports, we assess what we've watched, and we just have our takes.
Larry David was on the Michael Kay show. It's an afternoon radio show in New York City. And he said the story. I'm going to try to find the clip. Mike, if we could try to find that clip so we could tweet it.
Well, I don't know if Mike, as a Jet fan, I don't know if you want to find it.
Right, yeah, Mike, cover up your ears, man. Producer Mike in the background with the earmuffs coming on. But Don LaGreca, the co-host of Michael Kay, said something along the lines of, I don't know much about evaluating quarterbacks like they do, or I don't know how to. And then Larry David's like, no, you know as much as they do. They know nothing. Mm-hmm. And he said that he told Mike McCagnon, the then coach, general manager of the Jets, to draft Lamar Jackson, and in the most condescending way, kind of brushed it off and then laughed at Larry David. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, Mike McCagnon out of a job. But also, look, a lot of people were a little skeptical about Lamar Jackson, and for the record, it was like 2 people that said he should become a wide receiver. Like in the public eye, right? It was Bill Polian and Booger McFarland. Right. Besides that, no one really said that. It was like he was going to be a project. And that was kind of the consensus. Like, groom him for a couple of years and then go from there. But back to Joe Judge. I know nothing about him. I've started doing some research. I loved his press conference. It seems like he could be an alpha. Pat Shurmur screamed C+, like charisma.
He's offensive coordinator.
Yeah. And which is not a bad thing, right? Yeah. Ben McAdoo, shit show in itself. He's not even in the league, is he?
I would hope not.
Like, not even as like a QB coach or something?
They got him on island with like Jason Garrett, Adam Gase, who will hopefully be an island after this year. Mike Smith's retired. I don't want to put Mike Smith on island, but yeah, just certain coaches like never, like Jeff Fisher, just never again. This guy, or Rex Ryan, keep him on ESPN. Like, there's no team that can employ Rex Ryan.
Joe Judge was the special teams coordinator for the Patriots, probably the best special teams in the league.
Right. Matthew Slater always held it down.
Yeah, but even, rarely do they get a return put on them. Rarely do, they do have great success on kick returns. Cordell Patterson used to be a thing and whatnot, and even like Edelman back there, Danny Amendola back in the day. They've always had guys that they could put out there. The knock on him is that he was the wide receiver coach, and everyone's saying how the one unit that you wouldn't want to poach anyone from New England would be the wide receivers. But I also think that's not fair because the roster wasn't that talented.
No.
That doesn't all fall on him.
I think
Make me feel better.
No, I think the issue with the Giants is just that coaching search kind of ended rather quickly. Like, Judge was just coaching on Saturday night, and then they gave him the job just so quickly. That kind of – it's a little bit of a head-scratcher. But then again, Dallas did the same thing, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I was a little disappointed they didn't give Eric Bieniemy more of a chance, or just teams in general. I think he's someone coming from the Andy Reid coaching tree. Just Andy Reid, when his guys go, they mostly have success, and he's very highly regarded across the league. And I'm not getting into Rooney Rule or anything because I'm not totally knowledgeable of it, but I do think it's a bit of concern. Just we don't have enough black coaches in the league. It's only I think 3 right now. We got Brian Flores,
Lynn, and Tomlin.
yeah,
Right?
and I think so, yeah. So it's just, and the people are saying, oh, maybe because look, you could say what you want about racial injustice or just the protest. Like I can't resonate that being I'm white, but it's just like you have to take this into consideration. Like you have no idea how we can relate to these people in just terms of like the setbacks or them being held back. So I feel for Eric Bieniemy just because you saw guys like a Doug Peterson or I'm blanking on the other offensive coordinator. Oh, was it maybe Sean McVay? Someone else from Andy Reid's coaching tree within 2 years.
Nagy.
Matt Nagy. There you go. Boom. Like these guys got 2 years offense coordinating jobs, or 2 years as offense coordinator, then got jobs. And I don't know. It's just to see him. And who knows? Maybe he could get the job in Cleveland. Cleveland's still out there, but he's someone I really thought would get a job. And I just think he should have got more interview consideration. But I just think the Giants maybe could have taken a little bit more time to assess their options. I'm not sure if they ever had interest in like a guy like Robert Saleh or whoever it may be. It seemed like it was kind of ended really quickly. Which is kind of odd.
It seems like they wanted McCarthy and Rule, who Rule ends up going to Carolina, and he cut a hell of a promo that Monday Night Raw fans would be proud of. And, listen, $10 million a year for a coach, I think that's kind of steep.
John Gruden approves.
Right, yeah. Shout out to John Gruden. But, he's a guy who's unproven coming from college. He really cleaned up the Baylor program. They had their own issues and scandals that they had to worry about. And, he goes to Carolina, and I think that's a pretty talented roster. Or no?
They have talent.
At the skill position,
Yeah.
I think that they have some good ball players.
And I always like their defense. It's just, I don't know, they've really underachieved this year. And you could say maybe it's because of just the quarterback play or just, things fell apart with some of the veterans. They do have an older roster. So I think that
is true, too. It's weird because their skill guys are all like under 24.
Right. A lot of their best defensive players are kind of on the downside of their careers. But I think it's a fun hire. I just think that's a team that just needs a complete makeover. Now I'm still a believer in Cam Newton. I hope they keep Cam Newton. Time will tell. But I just think that franchise, between you got Tepper there now, because people forget like the whole Jared Richardson situation. They had to bounce back from that, and I know Tepper's a big analytics guy, so it's funny you hear him and then you hear about Dave Gettleman talk about software guys. But I'm excited about Matt Rule. I think he's someone you saw from his press conference brings a lot of energy. I'm just curious about what he does with Cam Newton. I just think they need to figure that out quickly because that will set the stage for what they want to do in the offseason. Because I think they have a top 10 pick, so it's a big offseason. Because right now, a lot of the teams in the NFC South, they're either improving or they're really under pressure. Like I think Tampa Bay is on the rise, and while you have New Orleans, Atlanta, they're under a lot of pressure right now. So Carolina, they're somehow in that mix. They just got to figure out their identity.
Can you make the argument that your team, the Falcons, has the most stable quarterback right now? Or you think you'd still go with Breeze?
Breeze did not look good on Sunday.
He didn't, man.
That fumble was really careless.
Yeah.
And that pick, that interception to Anthony Harris, like I don't know what Ted Ginn downfield in double coverage, but I thought Breeze had a really strong start, so I want to put that one game on him. So
I mean, yeah, we were singing his praises last week.
Yeah, so I'll still put Breeze. Ryan didn't have that great of a year, so I'll still stick with Breeze.
All right. And then obviously Mike McCarthy going to the Dallas Cowboys. We kind of touched on Ron Rivera last week.
Yeah, we like to fish. Just I have no idea what to make of the Washington Redskins organization.
Yeah. It's gonna have to. They're gonna have to give him time.
That's a 2-3, kind of the Giants. It's gonna be a 2-3 year process.
Yeah. Though you know what, man. Anytime I talk about the Giants, people think I'm a homer, but I do think that's one of the few teams that I think if they can do the right thing in free agency, like go all defensive, like I want them to do,
yeah,
and on the draft
defense.
Yeah, dude. What team this year had like 7 new starters on defense? Was it? What was the team, man? There was a team that had a complete makeover on defense, or their roster just. Oh, it was the Cleveland Browns. Not on defense, but like in 2018 compared to their 2019 season, they had like 23 new names on the 53. Yeah. So like that's the kind of thing that the Giants need to do. Okay. And I'd be happy we're bringing everyone back on offense. Hopefully they can stay healthy.
Minus Nate Soldier.
Yeah. Spend some money on a left tackle or draft one. Yeah. And then just all defense like the Packers did.
I know. I just don't trust the general manager. So
yeah, don't worry. I don't either. McCarthy goes to the Dallas Cowboys. Thoughts? I kind of like it.
I like the fit, but I'm not a Mike McCarthy guy, so I don't know how to fall on it. But I do think I can understand why Dallas made the move. I just think Mike McCarthy has a lot to prove. He really fell apart in Green Bay. I think his just scheme got kind of exposed. He just got lazy. That's a lot of reports came out in Green Bay. For a coach of his stature to get fired during the season is a very bad look. And just the relationship between him and Rodgers kind of fell apart. I know Rodgers is a bit arrogant. He's a bit tough to work with. But when you're a coach and you're working with a caliber, like a quarterback of the caliber of Rodgers, you got to make it work. So I think McCarthy hopefully did some soul searching and just now is ready to acclimate himself to this league, because I really thought his system got really exposed. And like you saw, even those past 3 years of Rodgers had to make a lot of plays on his own. So, and Dak, even though he's talented, he's not necessarily a quarterback to make the craziest out of structure throws. Like, he can get rattled. So I'm excited about the fit, because it's like a high profile guy with a high profile team. This team's clearly ready to contend. It's just I'm not that big of a Mike McCarthy guy.
Yo, you know what I just realized, and maybe you've already connected the dots? All 4 teams have new coaches in that division.
Wait, what do you mean?
Rivera. Oh my God. Yeah, Doug Peterson. Never mind. All right, scratch the last 5 seconds of that conversation.
Carolina went to NFC East apparently.
Yeah. Shit, that might have been good right now, but with Philly. So, you know what? Let's just touch on that real quick. The Carson Wentz stuff, man. Did you feel bad for him?
Oh, absolutely. And anyone that says he's injury prone because that should be ashamed of themselves. I saw people tweeting, "Oh, Carson Wentz, you can't trust him." How are you gonna put that injury on him? He took I thought it was a dirty hit. I can understand in that moment why, but it's still a dirty hit to me.
I think it was an unnecessary hit. Like, he didn't need to.
Yeah.
You know, like the guy, Carson Wentz already leaped, and then Jadeveon Clowney hit him from behind. And like, yo, you're right. It's a head injury. Yeah. You know, a guy that's injury prone is Will Fuller. That is the definition of injury prone.
That's a hamstring-ish. Like,
hamstring,
this guy got concussed.
Yeah, yo, you get a concussion. That's just like how it is. You know, it just happens.
It was on the first drive. Like,
Yeah, I felt bad for that dude, man, because I'm a big Carson Wentz truther, without a doubt.
Right. But I could see why Dallas made this move. I know they weren't going to go the college route, so which ruled out Matt Rule. Other than that, it's like I know they interviewed Marvin Lewis, but Marvin Lewis wasn't going to go there. They were just going to get the most high-profile guy that has experience. I think Mike McCarthy, 2 to 3 Dallas playoff losses came against Green Bay, so I guess Jerry connected the dots, even though one of those losses came when Aaron Rodgers was just doing some superhuman, of course, the throw to Jared Cook, so I don't know what to make of Mike McCarthy. Some people say he's just upgraded. He's just a better version of Jason Garrett, which I think it's a little harsh, but nobody could deny those last few years in Green Bay were brutal, so he has a lot to prove.
He definitely has a lot to prove, but I do like that he's like an adult, right? Like, should be able to clean up some of the nonsense with them, and it's going to be an upgrade for Jason Garrett, and if he could just be a one-game improvement, I think that makes the world of difference for a team like that.
I also like that they kept Kellen Moore, at least get some continuity.
Right.
Yeah. Although bring back Mike Nolan's very interesting. He used to be the Falcons decoy, and this guy's been out of the league for a bit, so that was a little bit of a curious move. Although, I feel like Rob Marinelli's been there for like 8 years. Like, you remember Rob Marinelli? It's like this old defensive line coach. Now he's a decoy there, but yeah, they got rid of him. So I guess Dallas ready to go, but who knows with Mike McCarthy.